Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1971. Today we're at the beach in Southern California and we're going to learn about what's next in the coating industry for your paint finishes. Be prepared to be inspired.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today I'm back in my hometown, Southern California, although I'm a little bit north of San Diego in Huntington Beach with a very special friend by the name of Mel Craig. Mel, welcome to Cars Yeah. Do you have it in gear, and are you ready to release the clutch?
I'm ready to release the clutch. I'm excited, fired up, and what a great topic you've chosen today.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun talking about coatings and things for paint finishes. But before I give you a proper introduction and I share a little bit more about you, what's one little thing that maybe most people don't know about you, Mel?
You know, a lot of people don't realize that I'm 64 years old and that I've been in the industry for almost 50 years.
Incredible.
I go back to the beginning days of car care and auto detailing, back when we had to explain to people what detailing was.
Yes. Yeah.
So a lot of people don't realize how far back my history goes in car care.
You know, it's incredible. You and I go back a long way, too, because I'm almost 64. Next month, I'll be 64. And, you know, I got my start in car care detailing cars when I was 12, 13 years old, started my own business and started taking care of cars. I tried to do it in a different way than most people, go beyond a wash. But boy, things have come a long way. So let me give you a proper introduction, and we're going to dive into this world that you're involved in and have been involved in so very long. Mel Craig, an industry leader in car care, like he said, for 50 years now. Mel has spent his entire career building a brand and a global name in the automotive appearance industry. As he said, he's 64 years young, and I'm going to say young because he is a young guy, because I'm right there with him, so I don't want to use the word old here. He is not only one of the biggest names in car care, but he still works very exclusively in high-end shops, basically his own shop there in Huntington Beach, not only caring for cars, but teaching people. Mel has created the new buzz, and over the past 10 years, taking his business from a basic auto detailing service to what he now refers to as a paint correction and paint protection specialist and an educator. He's been published in numerous magazines and appeared on many TV shows, as well as including something new that maybe he'll share with us coming up in 2022. When it comes to car care and the ultimate level of paint protection, Mel's going to be sharing the importance of why the ceramic coating business is real, why it works, and why it's the next thing in the coating category. We'll be back in just a minute to talk with Mel, but first a word from our valued sponsor, so give them a little love. Keep that shiny side up, and we'll be right back. Covercraft has the most complete line of custom seat covers available. Choose between the Polycotton Seat Savers, Endura Precision Fit Custom Seat Covers, Leatherette Precision Fit Custom Seat Covers, and their durable Carhartt seat covers. They're all easy to install and remove, and guess what? They're machine washable too. Easy cleanup to make them look brand new. No more worries about the kids spilling on your seats or your pets damaging your expensive upholstery or leather. Covercraft's quality seat covers protect from damaging pet claws, pet fur, hair, mud, moisture, food, drink spills, drool from permanently damaging your vehicle's fine surfaces. Headrest and armrest covers and color options are also available on many of the styles. And I've got a great offer for you. If you use the code YEAH21, YEAH21 at covercraft.com, they'll give you 10% off plus free shipping. That's right, 10% off and free shipping with the code YEAH21 at checkout. Covercraft, protecting the things that move you. Visit covercraft.com today. Last year, I changed my collector car coverage to American Collectors Insurance. That's who now protects my Porsche Turbo, the one I call my Orange Crush. But did you know they also insure your valuable collections of automobilia and other collectibles? If you're like me, you've invested in a lot of cool collectibles over the years. Those items are valuable. And if you were to lose them in a theft or a fire, well, try to get your normal homeowner's insurance to pay you what they're worth. Good luck with that. American Collectors Insurance provides you with assurance and confidence that that your collectibles are fully covered. They insure a lot of items, including automobilia, wine, baseball cards, books, figurines, die-cast models, model trains, glassware, sports memorabilia, toys, and a whole lot more. American Collectors Insurance, they've been protecting us enthusiasts since 1976. They provide you with an agreed value insurance policy backed by a long history of taking care of their clients. Give them a call today for your personal agreed value quote at 866-ACI-YEAH. That's 866-224-9324. Tell them you're a friend of mine, Mark Rains here at Cars Yeah, American Collectors Insurance. Classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors. Automotive enthusiasts just like you and me. That's American Collectors Insurance. All right. So, Mel, we're back. So you were past last on my show. Gosh, guest number 993. Nice number for a Porsche. The Porsche 993 had one of those. Love those cars. That was all the way back in April of 2018. Now, some may say that wasn't that long ago, but a lot has changed. And what I want you to share with us today is this new product you're involved with, Revivify, which is, I keep seeing you on Facebook talk about this, and I go, okay, I got to have Mel back to share because, as you know, I worked at Griot's Garage, helped build that business. I was there for 23 years. And this coating industry was just starting to come on when I left Griot's 8+ years ago, and it was still very mystical and difficult to use. And it kind of is still, because people still ask me about this. So I'm going to dive right into this and talk about what you're doing now, how you're educating people, and this Revivify. What is this stuff? Why does it work? And how do people get involved with it?
Well, you know, Mark, I kind of want to back up a little bit because there's kind of a prerequisite to explaining what Revivify is and how it works and why we use it today. And you're right, you know, with your career and going back to 2010 when the Asian market hit the U.S. with these coatings. And as you and I had talked about earlier, they were very difficult to apply, very difficult to level, very hard to work with. And it took a while for people to understand the level of protection that these coatings were offering. You know, you and I grew up on waxes and sealants. And so going back, you know, we're looking at now, 10+ years of these coatings in the industry today. And what we started to realize is, the technology came in 2010, although went through some version changes, basic version changes, make it a little easier to apply, make it easier to level and get the level of protection on people's cars that we were looking for. The issue was that it was still a challenged market. It was still difficult to explain to people how and why they would have put, or pay an exorbitant amount of money to get their car protected. So the coating industry has changed a lot in 10 and that's where Revivify comes in. The ceramic coating industry, I'm not going to say anything bad about it because it's had its place. It's very important for people to realize that it's a much better level of paint protection than a wax or a sealant. And that's been proven many times over. In fact, some of these ceramic coating companies are offering different packages. What that means is to include layers of these coatings. So put layer one on, wait a couple hours, put another layer. There's some of these guys that are doing, upwards 4, 5, 6 layers of these coatings.
Wow.
And all that really is doing is offering more protection on the painted surface. The negative side of the ceramic coating industry is that no matter how well we seem to want to maintain our cars or keep them looking good, the process of keeping a ceramic coating looking good as the day it rolls out of my shop or any professional shop is that look that you just can't deny. It's beautiful, gorgeous. That, not only the shine and gloss, Mark, like we love, but that depth.
Oh,
that paint,
it looks like it's
you want
wet.
to dive. Yeah, you want to dive into that paint.
Yeah,
and that really, ceramic coatings really gave us that extra level of depth that we always were looking for. But the issue still kept arising where just, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year later, the cars would still get scratched and have some marring and have some minor wash scratches and things just in basic maintenance. And, in the business world, I think all of us in business, and it doesn't matter what business anybody chooses, you're always trying to outperform or you're trying to look for that differentiating or separating factor that separates you from your competitors, from the competition. And a few years ago, I started looking, although I've used just about every ceramic coating, traditional ceramic coating in the industry, I was looking and always kept my eyes out for the newest and greatest. And 2 years ago, 2 of my licensees up in Canada got a hold of this product called Revivify. and they sent it down to me. And, one of the hot buttons I had, Mark, was the self-healing aspect. Like, wow, that's a differentiating statement. That's a marketing tool all in its own. Wow, this product, you put it on your car and self-heals. And I had tried a couple of these different U.S.-made self-healing products, but they failed. They just didn't work. But this Revivify product was new and different. And what makes it different is that most of your traditional ceramic coatings today are the chemistry behind them is a silica or titanium dioxide, and they boast hardness. The harder it is, the better. In fact, some people are now marketing, 9H, 10H hardness, which really doesn't mean much to the consumer, but the harder, the better. And the guys in Taiwan, the leader and the chemistry behind this man, his intelligent chemistry has really changed the whole aspect of these coatings. And one of the things that he took a look at was paint protection film. You know what that is.
Oh,
Let's make sure our listeners right now know what that is. Paint protection film is the nickname is Clear Bra, and what it is a clear vinyl that we lay over the surface of the paint with liquids, and we squeege it on, and it still has that crystal clear look, but it's a thick 6 to 8 mil piece of plastic or vinyl that we're putting on the car to protect it from rock chips and projectiles that hit our painted surface, making sure that we don't damage the paint. Well, the guys in Taiwan, when they took a look at that, they said, well, let's go down that road. So what's happened, Mark, is these past 3 years, Revivify has literally advanced the technology from traditional ceramic coatings. My definition, Mark, of insanity is keep doing the same thing over and over again,
right,
and expecting a different result.
Oh, yeah.
It's like when we buy, a year and a half ago, I bought the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Mm-hmm. Wow, great camera, great video. And, 6 or 7 months later, the iPhone 13 Pro
comes
Max
out. Yeah.
came, better camera, better video. And so technology changes
very fast.
And it actually took 10 years for people to go from the basic traditional ceramic coatings to what is Revivify today. Revivify's chemistry is actually a silicone-based product. They didn't go hardness. They actually went soft.
Oh.
So when a projectile comes in contact with Revivify on any surface that it's actually applied to, it actually absorbs and rejects it, similar to paint protection film.
Interesting.
Is it a paint protection film? No, it's not a paint protection film, but it's a liquid version of a paint protection film. And Trust me when I say the level of performance we've seen these past 2 years, it's not a new product, by the way. It's been overseas 9 years, actually marketed 5 years in many successful countries with Revivify. Canada for the past 3 years, and that's where I got it. So here now, about a year and a half. And the results, the performance, the level of paint protection, and the overall acceptance from the consumer is over the top. I've never seen. I've never in my entire career have experienced a single individual product creating so much buzz. Today, Revivify is it's one of the fastest growing coatings in the world, and it's basically customer driven. It's no longer being driven by company marketing campaigns. The customers are walking out the door with a cosmetic look they've never seen, and this self-healing thing has just been literally over the top with the testimonials that have been coming in here in America for the past year and a half.
Well, that's why I wanted to have you on the show, because I follow you. You're a past guest. You've become a friend. And, we shared this Southern California surfing lifestyle, although you're still living it. I'm up here in the rain. So I live my Southern Cal surf lifestyle through you, Mel, through your posts on Facebook. But I saw a sense of excitement. Not that you're always excited. You're always very positive. I love your whole vibe is just really cool about
thank you.
About positivity and just looking at things in a different light. But I saw this and I went, I've got to talk to Mel about this and share this, because one of the things that I still get a lot of calls from people having worked at Griot's for so many years and developed so many car care products. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Well, since I've been gone from there 8+ years, the industry's changed a lot, and this coating industry is one of the big parts of it. But there's so many car care products out there now, way more than when I was involved in the industry. I always tell people you need to talk to people who've used what you're interested in, and then just give it a try and see what works. But one of the things that you have to remember is some of these different liquids or pastes or whatever they are. I mean, you and I back in the day, it was just paste wax, right? And then this liquid wax stuff came about. It's like, ooh, it's liquid. It's pliable. You can use that now. And then that was even before sealants. And then sealants came out, and everything keeps changing. But I tell people to give it a try. Back to the the ceramic coatings. If we're focusing just on Revivify today with you, is this something that a consumer can learn how to do? Because you're also an educator.
Yeah, and we do have classes to teach these kind of things, but no, it's a professional level product, and it'd be very difficult for a consumer to be able to use and apply. You know, one of the things that we need to really touch bases on, back in our day, Mark, we had plenty of paint to work with. There's a method to my madness here, so bear with. We had plenty of paint to work with. Mm-hmm. Today, the manufacturers, everything after 2005, the manufacturers have gone 100% robotic. And what this means is these robotic arms and these nozzles that paint the vehicles for us today are so dialed into perfection, they can literally lay a perfect layer of paint, but it's microscopically thin. And so what we're up against today, all professional detailers, what we're up against today is we deal with OEM paint that is extremely and dangerously thin. We're seeing an epidemic in clear coat failure, an epidemic in cars chipping and scratching easier than ever before. And these coatings, whether it be ceramic or a Revivify coating, it's almost like a no-brainer when you explain to a consumer, you know, we're offering you a level of protection that, quite frankly, you can't say no to, because if you did, you're making a poor decision, because there's just not enough paint on the car for a wax and a sealant to do its job. You absolutely need to have more protection on your car, and that's where Revivify shines big time. It's almost like adding another layer of clear. The thickness is so thick it's about 3 to 5 times thicker than any ceramic coating. So you've got a level of protection on that paint that a consumer really has to be educated on why it's important to put that coating on the car.
You know, when I bought a E46 M3 when they first came out, 2001, and then I bought another one in 2005. I still have that car. And when I bought that car, I opened the trunk and I looked at the inside edges of the trunk, and they were dull. And I thought, they forgot to put the clear coat. And I actually took it back to the dealer because the car before, they had clear coated those inside surfaces on the front hood and the back trunk. And he said, no, he goes, I'm afraid they've kind of cheaped out because they're going to robotics now, and they're not putting that clear, which makes that base coat shiny. So what you just said, 2004, 2005, that's what they've done. Now, let's go down this path, because we talk about protection. You and I, again, back in the day, had a lot more paint. So if you had a scratch, you could polish down through that scratch and still have paint underneath it. So do these coatings, and specifically Revivify, reduce the need for removing scratches? Do they actually hide them? Kind of like what glazes were doing 20 years ago?
No, not at all. In fact,
okay.
If anything, if anything, these coatings are
they enhance
literally a magnification of the surface. Back in our day, Mark, you and I, we could compound a car, 5, 6, 7 times in the lifetime of a paint job, no problem. What I mean by paint corrector, that an aggressive cut into the paint. We had plenty of paint to work with. Well, today that limitation is down to 1. If we correct paint on a car, I literally tell people, look, we're not going to remove 100% of the defects off this paint. It can't be done. We're going to push for 70, 75% of a defect-free finish and learn to live with that and take care of the paint from that point on. Because if these scratches should appear again, if you should end up with damage, we can't do this level of correction again.
Would you explain what correction means to the consumer out there? What does that mean, the words paint correction?
Well, very good, because that's another whole radio show we're going to have to do. But paint correction is the art of being able to remove scratches, defects, marring, swirl marks off the paint. What we're doing in the paint correction process is we're using machines, pads, compounds, and polishes to literally cut into the paint to get and remove those blemishes, so that you get the three goals is to have shine, gloss, and depth. And we really want the more we remove the defect on the surface of the paint, the more depth you're going to have in that paint. You can always have a shiny car. Anybody stands 10, 15 feet away from the car, it looks shiny. But when you get up real super close, or put our lighting systems onto these paint jobs, you're going to see all kinds of defects in the paint. Our job is to try to remove as many of those defects as we can to give that consumer that, that gloss and depth they really want, that showroom finish. And paint correction is all about the art of being able to use the machine, pads, and chemicals at our disposal to remove these defects and give that finish that the customer wants.
I got it. Let's take a short break for our sponsors here. We come back, we're going to talk more about paint finishes and corrections and what people can do and how they can learn more about where to go to find people in their area. Because unfortunately, Mel can't clone himself. Well, maybe he can. And we're going to talk about that too with this training that you've been doing. So sit tight, and we'll be right back. Did you know that Cars Yeah is in the top 1% of all podcasts based on listenership, according to Libsyn, the premier RSS feed for podcasts in the United States? That's right. And Cars Yeah is the only 5-day-a-week automotive-focused podcast for you to get your message into the ears of thousands of listeners daily from all over the world. Plus, DuPont Registry recommended Cars Yeah is one of their top 10 car podcasts for you to enjoy. Cars Yeah has experienced tremendous growth, plus your ads are evergreen, meaning they never go away. And more listeners find Cars Yeah every day for their daily dose of automotive inspiration. Do you want to expose your brand to a highly targeted list of automotive enthusiasts in a very unique and very personal way? Well, I can help you. Contact me, Mark Green, at mark@carsyeah.com or through the website at carsyeah.com today to learn more. I've discovered Linkage. It's a new quarterly publication and website that covers the automotive market, driving, restoring, collecting, and discovering your passion for motor vehicles. Linkage is about experiences, opinions, and values. Linkage is an actual informed, reasoned opinion based on first-hand experiences. A talented Linkage team covers the automotive world, the people who share your passion and mine, smart, considered, rational, and experienced opinions, ones you can learn from and grow. That includes our passion that drives auctions and the collector car market. So come with me and join us on this journey. And be sure to use the code CARS YEAH when you subscribe, and they'll give you $10 off. Boom! Linkage, geared for the automotive life. Subscribe today at linkagemag.com. So Mel, we're back. So let's look at it this way, because when I watch you and I see how excited you are about Revivify, I go, man, I wish Mel lived close to me, but I'm 1,500 miles away. By the time I drive down there and drive back, it's going to be a long trip. So you do a lot of educating. You teach a lot of people how to use products, how to do paint correction, how to apply products. That's a big part of what your life is all about, right? Is training, helping?
Absolutely. Yeah. It goes into any industry that you enter into. Training is of the utmost importance. The consumer has to be aware of the fact that that this is what we call an unregulated, uneducated business. And all that means is pretty much anybody can go to Home Depot, buy a bucket, a sponge, a garden hose. They can go on a website and buy themselves a machine, some pads and chemicals. They can go to FedEx and have a business card made up calling themselves a professional in the industry, but we all know that's the farthest thing from the truth. And the consumer has to really understand that they're looking for a professional. They're looking to take care of a very expensive investment they have in their automobile. Mm-hmm. They need to find these professionally trained and certified detailers. It's important. It's not about money, because a lot of these guys are budget shopping, or a lot of consumers are looking for, that $75, detail.
Yeah.
And really what you're going to get is you're going to get a person who's never been trained and doesn't understand, especially thin paint. A lot of these uneducated guys that don't know the industry, don't know paint technology, they go grinding away on your paint. They're burning paint, and we're seeing paint burns in record numbers as well.
That's why you see those orbital marks, those rotations down the sides of cars that you see in the sun. You think, what happened to that guy's car?
Yeah, that's a buffer, and that's a buffer trail, or what we consider holograms. And yeah, it makes the car look really bad, and it also disrupts the level of protection that the standard manufacturer's clear coat has to offer. That clear coat, that one finish that you just talked about, is what gives the car the protection from Mother Nature's wrath and UV rays.
And the shine.
Yeah, and the shine. And the more you leave that clear coat alone, the better off your car is long term. The problem is, once we start doing paint correction or polishing paint over and over again, you start thinning that clear. And that's where Revivify comes in, Mark. That's where that level of protection has to be applied to the surface of the paint to give that customer long term protection. I mean, they want to. People are now keeping their cars are expensive. They're keeping them longer. Look at back in our day, you could lease a car for 6 months, and then it went to a year, then 2 years. I mean, I think there's people leasing cars for 5-6 years now.
Oh, I know.
And so they're keeping their cars longer,
crazy.
and they want them to look better for longer periods of time. And that's where these coatings come to play. It's very important, and it's a big thing to separate Revivify from the standard ceramic coating. The way I look at it is the traditional standard ceramic coating industry is what I would consider older technology. It's not bad technology. We've been moving with it for 10 years with a lot of success. But now all of a sudden we're seeing this new technology, and that's where Revivify comes in. You know, you put a layer of Revivify on the surface of the paint. Not only is it offering that level of protection, but the cool thing is on a nice hot sunny day, if you do end up with a few minor wash scratchers or, basic swirls on your car, just a hot sunny day, they disappear. So it's really kind of a
really
proactive finish. Yeah. It's like I said, it's new technology. I mean, Mark, think about it. Back in our day, it took almost 30 years from the late 1970s. It took about 30 to 35 for us to see advanced technology in the car care automotive appearance industry.
Crazy.
I mean, we lived out of buckets and sponges for all that time. And in 2008, 2009, we just saw massive new machines, new pads, new chemical, all kinds of great things.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we've overcomplicated the industry. You know, one of my students told me not many years ago, Mel, we're not NASA sending a man to Mars.
Yeah.
We're detailers. We clean a car for a living. You know, let's keep it as simple as we possibly can. The consumer doesn't have to, go down this path. The consumer just needs to be educated on, hey, this thin paint is an issue. Aftermarket and custom paint is also an issue because you want to make sure you protect that. Single stage paint is an issue. And that's where these coatings, these high-end coatings truly do offer that level of protection that they need. Not just because they want to. It's not, these guys aren't trying to sell something to somebody. These certified professional detailers are truly trying to help. A lot of times I see professionals in the industry caring more about the consumer's car, that customer's cars, than their customer does.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
You work on so many cool different cars, from new cars to old cars. And that's the fun thing. If you listeners don't already follow Mel out there on his Facebook page, you got to go follow him because he's always posting pictures of the neat cars he's doing in all different walks, from custom cars, old single stage paint cars, newer cars, exotic cars, regular old SUVs, minivans that moms drive but want to look good. I mean, there's all these different layers of things. So if somebody wanted to experience Revivify and have it put on their car, and they live somewhere in the country, how do they go about that?
Well, you can always go to the Mel Craig Facebook. You can go to the Detailing Pros website, but we do have teamrevivify.com.
Got it.
And on that website, we have a list of our, American certified professional detailers. Now, these guys go through an intensive, very comprehensive training before they can become a Revivify applicator. Because we want not only the applicator to apply them, but we want to make sure they understand paint technology, and all these things we've been talking to you about on the show today. It's imperative that they understand paint and paint technology before they put a coating or a film over the car.
Yeah. Well, and for you listeners out there, you may be going, Mark, this is sounding like an infomercial here, dude. Isn't that what you normally do? And that really wasn't my intention today. I wanted to, and you've done a great job here, Mel, is educate listeners because I get asked these questions all the time from people because of that history I have with developing car care products. Have Mel explain it. And you've done a great job. I wanted to talk a little bit about some future fun you're having, because you've been on TV shows, you've been out there. I mean, the SEMA shows that we all go to over the years. You're joining forces with Tom Sudik, the Ding King, and you're working on something that's coming up on TV next year. Is that right? What can you tell us about this new show?
Well, I'd love to share the intricacies of that. I really can't at this point because it's pretty intense, and the production companies are all having issues right now, even shooting anything new. But next year, provided everything goes well, I have an amazing co-host. Her name is Linda Halligan. She's amazing. We've worked together for many years on different projects and TV shows, including commercials and different types of car care videos from the do-it-yourselfer to the professional. But and Todd Sudik is orchestrating this and putting this together. Todd is the owner of the Ding King, and him and I joined forces to offer a more robust training program for both the professional and the do-it-yourselfer, as well as educate the consumer out there. And we thought, how's the best way to educate educate the consumer on car care. There's all these TV shows on how to fix it, how to build it, but there's no TV show on how to care for what you currently own.
Yeah.
And we found that fit, we found that niche, and we said, wow, let's run with this. This is a topic that I think everybody, will love to see. When, doing my TV show with Mike Brewer and Ann Edston on Wheeler Dealers, when they brought me on board, one of the things they felt they were missing and the chemistry that we had between the three of us was over the top amazing. And my part of the thing was, Mike being the one bringing the car in and getting the car, ready for sale and then having to sell it. Well, Ant's job was to make it run good and work good. Yep. And my job was to cosmetically take that fixer-upper and give it the appearance, and get it ready for sale.
Yeah. And
the parts that I did, the emails that were coming in were a lot more easy to relate to. For example, Ant would have to have, Ant had probably, $1 million worth of tools. I don't know. I'm sure the number's big. Yeah. All the tools and things he needs to pull a tranny and rebuild a motor and all these different things he did. That's not duplicatable to a standard consumer who's working out of their garage at their house. But car care is. It's easy to go buy a couple brushes, a couple cleaners, a hand polish, a hand wax, and watching me on a TV show, they're going, I could do that. Hey, where did Mel get that brush? Mm-hmm. How did Mel do this? I want to talk to Mel about polishing my car. And, that is the relatability that this new venture of ours is going to really hit the public and the consumer in a big way. At least that's what we're hoping. Cross your fingers and hope it works.
Well, I know. I did my own TV show a couple of years ago, and then COVID killed that whole deal, and trying to figure out ways to bring it back and the cost. It is very complicated, and the way these networks work nowadays is a lot of them just don't even want to pay you anything. Just, put your show here. In fact, we'll charge you to have your show here. It's kind of a goofy, different world, so who knows if Cars Yeah TV will come back. We're working on it, but we'll see. But I'm more excited about your show and the possibilities. So once it's out there, listeners, you keep watching me on social media and follow Mel, and you'll see where it comes along. Now, I'm going to ask you, I usually ask my guests about a special vehicle story. You've been on the show before, so I'm not going to ask the same question. I'm going to ask this in a different way because you're going to laugh at this, but you're going to get it, Mel. One of the things that's important to me in the vehicles I've owned is I need to be able to enjoy detailing them. They need to feel good in my hands. Now, this may be a little weird for some of you out there, but I'll tell you a funny story, Mel. When I was in college and I met my wife-to-be, and we've been married 37 years now, she used to come over and study while I was detailing cars to help pay for my college. And one day she said, after I detailed this guy's 911, she goes, I'd never seen a guy make love to a car like that before.
I'll be fine.
And I said, what? She goes, you really like that, don't you? And I said, yeah, it's pretty fun. So that's my segue, maybe a little weird, but we're friends here, into what is your most favorite vehicle to detail?
Oh, I'll be darned. Mark, people ask me that question from all over the world, and I really don't have one. It gets to a point as a professional where they all have four wheels and paint. and it's the best car that I work on is the one when the customer walks through the door and falls back in love with their car. What that means is
there you go.
So many people will have me take care of their car and say, Mel, look, you're right. I haven't taken care of it. Here's what my wife and I are doing. We're going to I want you to get this thing ready. We're going to trade it in or we're going to sell it and we're going to buy a new car. And Mel, from this point on, we're going to do what you teach us and we're going to take care of it.
Nice.
And ironically, I can't tell you how many of those clients have come back to pick up their car and fall back in love with it and say, wow, I'm keeping it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the hot button that I have. When I can turn ahead and I can show a customer something that spectacular, I mean, there's no better gift than that.
All those, I wish I'd kept count of every car I detailed over the years. And you're exactly right. It was so fun when somebody would come pick up their car or I'd drive it back to their garage and they'd walk out and go, is this the same car? It's like,
exactly.
How did you do that? So yeah, that's the fun part of bringing a car back to life for somebody and helping them fall back in love with them. Now, I didn't ask you this question last time you were on, but I'm going to be your car psychologist a little bit here. If you were manifest as a vehicle, now this is important that it's not what you want to be. It's the man you see in the mirror, who you are deep down inside as a vehicle. What kind of car is Mel Craig, and more importantly, why?
A 1968 Volkswagen van.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Yeah.
Well, Mark, that's an iconic, the surfers, when you think of the Beach Boys and Jan and Dean and all the surf music they wrote about, one of the things that they also wrote about was the surfer's car. It really dictated who he was. His personality really came out in the vehicle he drove. Those surfers back in our day, a lot of them drove Volkswagen vans, Volkswagen Bugs. We had our surfboards on the top. Yeah. We had our stickers all over our car. And that really signified who we are and who we were meant to be. And I look back at all these years of my surfing career as well as my detailing career. And it's funny you asked that question, because my wife and I right now, we actually sold my 1965 Ford Falcon 2 years ago, and we're in the market for a Volkswagen van that we can restore and make beautiful. So it is my hobby. Yeah, it's a great question. I really appreciate you even asking that, because that is our personality. That's our lifestyle. We live on the beach in Huntington Beach, California. We've never left the ocean, and that's what life is all about. So,
well, I love it.
Good question. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And another thing that what life is all about is giving back. You do training and help people, educate people so they can serve their customers, they can provide for themselves and their families. Can anybody touch base with you and be trained by you? Are you limited just to professionals? Can individuals who just want to have more knowledge about how to care for their vehicles come to you?
What a great question. Mark, my doors are open to anybody. I take a lot of phone calls from, daily driver consumers today that just need a helping hand. They ask questions, what machine, what pad to buy, things like that, all the way to the level where people will pay, tremendous amount of money to spend 5 days in my 5-day master certification training. But yes, anybody can reach out to me. I'm here to help. I'm 64 years old. It's my gift to be able to give back to anybody who's looking for help or support, in car care. We teach a 1-day do-it-yourself class. We teach a 2-day seminar. We teach a 2-day paint correction class. There's a lot involved here, and people really do understand that there is a right way and a wrong way to take care of their car. And I love when they call and ask questions, because we want to guide them down the right path. Make
Very
sure
cool.
they're not making mistakes. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
it. Is there a great book that you've read that you'd like to share with the listeners?
I think one of the best books, well, there's actually 2 books that changed my life forever. One was written back in the 1960s called The Greatest Salesman by Og Mandino. And, if I was to recommend anybody who wants to be in the business world today or look at the business world today, that was a book that changed my life forever. And another book that I read that, I do a lot of reading, and people might laugh, I'm going to show my feminine side here, I guess, I don't know. But the 5 love languages, that book is all about trying to find what your love language is and trying to find out what your potential mate or your wife or girlfriend, whoever, what their love language is, and accommodate that love language. Pretty good book on how to build relationships. But more importantly, it helps develop your character and really points you in a direction in all aspects of your life, not just in a relationship. Because
Absolutely.
A business is a relationship just like a person is a relationship. So friendships are relationships. It really does help a lot when you understand where the other person is coming from, and that communication really does change them. So those are 2 really good books I'd highly recommend anybody to read.
Yeah, the 5 Love Languages is a great book there. Yeah, it can help, especially us guys who maybe are a little limited on relationship knowledge. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and then that book, The Greatest Salesman, before I went to work and be a part of building the Griot's Garage brand, I worked for 11 years in advertising in San Diego, and the great man, Richard Warner, who hired me right out of college to be a creative guy and then taught me how to be account supervisor and communicate with clients, gave me that book to learn how to communicate better with people as well. So 2 great books you've recommended there, which bring back some good memories for me. So I'm going to let you go on the ultimate drive here. This means I'm going to buy you any vehicle, which I think we may have already covered. You can go anywhere with that vehicle and with anybody, anyone living or someone who's passed, and you can be driving anywhere in this very cool, shiny vehicle. So what is the ultimate drive if there's no cost involved here, because I'm paying for the whole deal? What does it look like for you?
Surfing up and down the California coast.
Yeah, in a VW van?
In a VW van, yeah.
Okay.
And I'd love to have you tag along with me.
That would be fun. Yeah, absolutely. I have a local friend here, Louis Shefchik, who owns J&L Fabricating, and he built, for another friend of ours, Tom, he built a VW van, but he put a Porsche 993 power plant in the back of that thing, modified all the suspension. He even put a Porsche 5-gauge dash in that vehicle, but from the outside, it looks completely stock. Tom took that over to the Hawaiian Islands where he has a home now. So driving around, it looks like a completely stock, old, slow VW van, but it kicks butt. So maybe I should have Louis make us a van first before we cruise up and down the coast so we can do it a little quicker. How's that sound?
Oh, that would be a fun trip. I'll tell you, especially you and I, we'd have a blast.
It'd be fun. Yeah, it'd be fun talking about car care and catching waves. Yeah, something I need to hear today on this gloomy, rainy day. Well, you have taken us on another wonderful ride and talk here today. I really appreciate you helping us learn more about coatings and Revivify. Before I let you go, is there maybe words of wisdom or inspiration you might leave us with, a success quote?
I always try to tell people that if business was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
And there's no money in it. Business is hard. It's a struggle. And anybody out there right now, especially in the state of California, is trying to run a business. We know what you're going through. We know the challenges that you face. But never give up on your dream. Never. Don't let anything be stolen away from you. Whatever you want, you can get. You just have to go achieve it and work hard to get there.
Yep, absolutely. Words from a guy who's been there, done it. He walks his talk. How can the many ways people reach out to you, learn more about you?
Go to the Detailing Pros website, go to the Mel Craig Facebook. I'm very active on that. Call me anytime they want and give them my phone number, 760-803-1955. That, in fact, is my personal cell phone.
Wow, yeah.
You can always visit the Team Revivify website, teamrevivify.com, or the Detailing Pros website, detailingpros.com. We're here. We're here for help. We're here for support. We're here for information. There's no price tag that you can put on that. It's not about charging somebody. We just love giving people the information they need, to go and grow.
Yeah, and that's what you've done today. Mel, my friend, Merry Christmas to you, your wife, and all of the listeners out there. This has been so much fun, and I really appreciate you coming back and giving us some education. I've learned a lot of things from you as well today, which
wow, that's great.
Well, it's very cool. Until you and I talk again, my friend, I'll see you down the road, or maybe if we're lucky, out in the ocean surfing.
You got it, my friend. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Mark. It means a lot.
You're welcome. Here at Cars Yeah, it's all about inspiration. And our charity of choice is TechForce Foundation, where it's all about making a positive difference in young people's lives. TechForce helps young adults discover their talents and passions for all things automotive, with a mission of helping students develop a career as a professional technician. TechForce awards nearly $2 million in scholarships every year for students to pursue technical education, and they support hands-on activities, events, and mentorships across the country, working to change the outdated perceptions of these careers. Auto techs are in high demand, but the supply of qualified technicians is critically short. They need your help to fuel their mission. Learn more and join me in supporting them at techforce.org.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.